Welcome to NASCAR American Motormouths. You just saw that's how the big news landed in NASCAR yesterday. Nate Ryan here with Jeff Burton. Dustin Long, are you in the right?
What am I doing here? Yeah, I'm not supposed to be
Dustin
here.
Long is supposed to be here. He is in the right place. We also have Parker Kligerman joining us from Stanford a little bit here. But let's start discussing the news. I mean, your take. Did you know that Tyler Reddick was going to go drive for 2311 Racing in 2024 before yesterday?
Well, I'm not going to answer that question, but I will. I want to let everybody know that when I found out I was coming on this show with two writers, I downloaded the dictionary in my phone so I would understand all the words that are going to be used today.
We're ganging up on you. Two laptops versus zero. Don't feel intimidated.
No, I did not know. And what was great about that video was as you're watching the members of the media, they all still think it's a joke. They're all like, it's funny. They're like, wait a minute, this is real. But, you know, I think it's a brilliant move by Denny Hamlin and his team. I think it's, you know, you look at what Denny Hamlin is building there, I think he's done a great job. They're bringing in a guy that I believe is a franchise player. And if you think about, you know, Michael Jordan and what one player can do, one great quarterback, one great driver can do, one great player on an NBA team, he can have a major impact, not just in an individual race, but in winning championships. And they believe they got their guy, and I think they did too. And I appreciate the aggressiveness. I hate it for Richard Childress Racing. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Richard Childress. I do think Richard has an opportunity here, right? Not every situation has to be bad. I think Richard can view this. He needs to keep giving Tyler Reddick the equipment he can win races with and even improve it, and that will help recruit the next guy. And maybe with all the shakeups that are going on in the sport and are going to go on in the sport, RC can come out in a better situation. And RC is like a cat. You throw him up in the air and he's going to land on his feet. And because he's smart, he's savvy, he's smart, he's been around. I hate it for him, but knowing Richard, you know, they're not going to look at this as the end of something. They're going to look at it as the opportunity for a beginning.
And Denny Hamlin talked about, Jeff, how that they discussed that timing. And he felt as if this is going to happen. We know Tyler Reddick's going to leave. It's better to rip the Band-Aid off now and give Richard Childress Racing a little bit of runway, even though it's going to be a little bit awkward, Dustin. But this has happened with Richard Childress Racing before. Unfortunately, they lose Kevin Harvick for the 2013 season, or to Stewart-Haas Racing, and they knew about that before Harvick raced out the 2013 season.
Yeah, and again, I think, like Jeff said, this is a brilliant move because I think what it is Denny Hamlin's getting ahead of the game. And Steve Oletta, the president of 2311, talked about, you know, that they want to be a transformative team, an innovative team, an aggressive team. And by getting a driver for 2024, they have done that. And again, in 2023, what you're looking at is a potential for a free agent frenzy. Kevin Harvick's contract expires after the 2023 season. You've got two contracts at Hendrick Motorsports, Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, that are up. Joey Logano's contract's up, although I know they've talked about doing an extension there. Martin Truex Jr. has only committed for one season. There's some other potential ones out there too. So there were a lot of race-winning teams that have the potential to have an opening that could have tried to lure and get in the game on Tyler Reddick. And Denny Hamlin's like, look, this is the guy that I want, and so I'm going to strike while the iron is hot, and I'm going to beat people to the punch on this. And again, this is becoming the 2311 modus operandi.
You know, one thing that I think is interesting that nobody's talked about is right now, is 2311 better than RCR? So we talk a lot about Denny Hamlin saying, there's my guy. That's my franchise driver. Tyler Reddick had to do the same with 2311. And that shows the faith that he has in what Denny Hamlin can make happen, what Toyota can make happen, because 2311 right now today is not a better ride than Richard Childress Racing.
It's got as many wins as Richard Childress Racing.
Look at the points. Yeah. Look at It's not a better ride right now.
Yeah.
But Tyler Reddick's looking at the future, and he is. Not only is Denny Hamlin saying that's my guy, Tyler Reddick's doing the same thing, and he's looking down the road the same way Hamlin is, saying, okay, I'm not going to look at just results today. I want to look at results 2 years from now. Where are we going to be 2 years from now? And that shows a tremendous amount of faith. And what I believe is one of the hottest free agents, you know, a year ahead, one of the hottest free agents on the market.
Right, and Dustin wrote a nice story about that on NBCSports.com last night. Okay, so we've heard from retired driver, we've heard from sports writer, going to bring in an active NASCAR driver, Parker Kligerman, joining us in Stanford, the most recent winner in the Truck Series. Parker, what did you make of this news? I know that you've talked to Tyler Reddick both as a driver and as a pit reporter. Your thoughts on all of this?
Well, I think it's pretty cool, at least, in terms of a young team investing in the sport. I mean, you guys alluded to he was a hot prospect. We knew that. I actually had that discussion with him back at COTA earlier this year, just sort of, he and I were doing a track walk, and I was inquiring, maybe as a friend a little bit, maybe as a member of NBC Sports, and sort of being like, what's going on, what's on your mind? And he just said, right now I'm focused on getting the best performance, but you could tell he knew he was a hot prospect. These discussions were happening in the background, and I think that what's cool about this is it's a young team investing, and you look at the accession of 2311. I mean, they go from 1 car to 2 cars to now plotting this far in the future. We've heard the discussions about some of the things they want to do in terms of building shops and that sort of thing. So I think it's cool to see this in NASCAR that we haven't seen, in years prior, in the last decade or so, is these younger teams like this, like a Trackhouse, that are coming in and making these investments and making investments for the future so far in advance. And I think one thing about this that was really interesting, just in some of the comments I saw in your article, Dustin, which was Denny basically saying, like, we don't have the sponsor figured out. We're not exactly sure where the money's coming from, but we're getting this driver and we're going to figure it out. Like, that's cool. I just love that. That shows a team that's just focused on one thing and one thing only, and that's they want to have the best performance possible come the time that Tyler Reddick hops in that car.
And that's one thing that I think is really important to look at and it's kind of like what you talked about, Jeff, is Tyler's looking at 2311. Denny Hamlin's talked about a 5-year plan to be a championship type of team. Well, in 2024, that'll be the 4th year of the organization. So Tyler Reddick's looking at an organization that should be more higher on the rise in terms of that planning. And for Denny Hamlin, he's getting a Tyler Reddick who will have been in the series for 4 seasons and will have had nearly 150 Cup starts. And you look at, he's 28 years old. That's a guy that you can build around for more than a decade. And if you look at some of the other guys that will be under 30 in 2024, all right, well, Chase Elliott will be 28. Well, wait a minute, he signed through 2027, so you can't get him. William Byron will be 26. Well, wait a minute, he signed through 2025. You're not going to touch him. Ty Gibbs, we expect to be up at Joe Gibbs Racing. He'll be 21. You won't touch him. So then you're looking at a Christopher Bell, an Austin Cindric. Christopher Bell presumably will still be at Joe Gibbs Racing. Austin Cindric, Daytona 500 winner. People don't leave Team Penske for the most part, so he should be set there. A Chase Briscoe, if he continues to have success, you would assume still be at Stewart-Haas Racing. So who are you going to get? Where are you going to build around? And if you're wanting to build around some young talent, here's a guy that's sitting there. Go get them, and that's what they did. They looked at the picture and what the future was going to be, and say, we're going to take it right now.
And Denny Hamlin discussed yesterday why he wanted Tyler Reddick, and let's take a listen to what he said during that news conference.
Not one. It's been every time I've been on the racetrack with him. It's easy to spot talent when you got to go against it. I mean, I can tell you that it's much easier. But I mean, for me personally, it's some of the things he did in Xfinity really was amazing. And again, winning 2 championships with 2 different teams. I mean, seeing the way that he, was able to run the wall at Homestead, it's just, I mean, Larson-esque, right? And I've had my fair share of success around that track, but still, like, I can't compete with that. So it's, it made sense to me. It's like, you look at his age, his runway that he has. It to me, when you have, franchise drivers don't come around that often, and so if there's ever one that you feel like you can grab, you go after it and you do whatever it takes to make that happen, and then you work on the details later.
So Denny mentions there that they won, or that he was really caught, his eye was caught by the fact that Tyler Reddick won back-to-back Xfinity championships in that Homestead Miami Speedway finale. Jeff, I know that resonated with you as well, especially 2019, Tyler Reddick goes to Xfinity as a title contender at Homestead Miami Speedway and beats what was then the big 3 in Xfinity: Cole Custer, Chase Briscoe, Christopher Bell, and that was a big moment in his career.
For me, it was huge. I mean, he went, he was not the guy that I was thinking would do this on that particular day. I was pretty convinced that there was no way he would end the race with the car in one piece, and he not only beat them, he destroyed them. And you talked about it, the big 3, and all 3 of those guys are in Cup racing today. And on one of our more difficult racetracks, he did it. And that really woke me up to Tyler Reddick and his ability. My biggest concern for him prior to that was, can he connect all the dots and put the whole race together? There's a lot of fast race car drivers. There's very few that can go fast and do it for 400, 500 miles. In that case, an Xfinity race shorter, but he was able to do it. The other thing that I think we cannot pay attention to is that when Denny Hamlin's talking about how good Tyler Reddick is, it's everywhere. He's a good plate racer. He's a good road course racer. He's a good short track racer. He's good at mile and a halves. And that's really important because what's the schedule going to be 4 years from now? Who knows? There's no telling. And so if you're looking to hire a young driver, you better have a guy that is proven over a period of time that he can run everywhere. I'm talking about a franchise guy. That guy, you can't have a weakness. Now, you're not going to be the best at everything. You got to continually be honing your craft. But it's easy to say, hey, we got a lot of road course racing. Do we know that's what it's going to be 5 years from now? I mean, this schedule has never been this, in the modern era, has never been this flexible.
Well, so, he's also shown he can get better, especially the road courses and things. So as the schedule changes, as it evolves, here's a guy you feel confident that can raise his game and match what the 100%. Schedule demands.
He was not a very good road racer, and he became one.
Yes.
And that's what you listen. This is an exciting time in the sport. You got owners investing. Parker made a great point. This is how it used to be. When I was the one little time I was a hot commodity in the free agent market, no one said, hey, you got money? You got a sponsor? That wasn't the question. The question was, can you come and drive this damn thing as hard as you can drive it and win races? Yeah, I can do that. You're hired. That was the deal. There was never a conversation about, can you bring money? And that's where we're getting, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, and I know, Parker, you can relate to that. I know you have some thoughts on that.
I love that. That's my truck team right now. That's all they've ever asked me, which is great of them. I'm very happy with them. But no, I think, just looking back, you mentioned him getting better on road courses. There's no doubt that occurred because, just looking back at last year in the Cup Series, that was one of his prerogatives, was focusing on getting better at road course racing, and he did that and now got his first win on a road course. But I go all the way back to that 2018 first Xfinity Series championship. I sat with Tyler and that junior motorsports team in that hauler probably midsummer. They were a bit lost. He had looked at me and said, I'm not sure if I'm figuring out these cars right. It was so many questions about how to be successful in NASCAR. He went to Homestead, though, put on that incredible performance, and from that moment onward, it became, Tyler Reddick, what else can I do, right? And then just goes on to become a dominant force in Xfinity, does it again for a second year at a different team, and from there it was Tyler Reddick, what can he not do, right? And I think that's one of the things that has been amazing for me watching Tyler and his accession and how he's gotten better. You mentioned him being good at all those different track types, Jeff, but it's been amazing for me to see how quickly he's able to go from a place where he feels like maybe at a road course he's not that good to being one of the best there is right now at doing that. So it's just like one of the most amazing things, and that's what I think really sticks out to someone like a Denny Hamlin who's driving against him, right? That's a unique thing, too, to get hired by someone you're racing against, right? That person, we always talk about race car drivers getting the respect of our peers, right? That's something that matters to us at times. It's very cool when other race car drivers respect what you do in the race car. But the ultimate form of respect is them to then come up to you and say, hey, I actually want to pay you to drive my race car. That is just an incredible thing. And I think that alone is an amazing, mark of his talent and his ability, let alone what we've seen in the past and what Denny thinks he has to offer in the future.
Yeah, the compliment flows a little better with a paycheck, right?
Jeff Gordon picking Jimmy Johnson in Xfinity races where Jimmy Johnson wasn't winning.
Yeah.
That's the guy, right? And that's what Parker's talking about. When you're racing with somebody, if they can do it or not. And recognizing that anybody can look and pick a winner and say, that guy can win. I want him to drive. The people that can see the talent, looking beyond results, those are the best in any sport. At draft picks, at free agency, they're the ones that make winning race teams.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin certainly knows a winning driver.
Real quick, just off that, Jeff, just one thing. You mentioned seeing the talent. I think that's one thing fans need to understand. It's not just results. When we talk about seeing what he's doing, it's not the results. It's watching the little things he does in the race car, whether it's certain race, corners on the road courses, braking, it's running the wall, it's being fast at short tracks and taking care of the car and being able to hang it out in the right rear at the larger 1.5 mile tracks. Like, those are the things that add up that we see as racers that stick out to us to say, okay, that person is doing something unique. They're finding something special right there that not everyone finds. I think that's a really important part too.
Definitely not visible to the naked eye of two of the panelists on today's program, and for probably a lot of those who are calling us here on 844 NASCAR NBC. This is a call-in show, NASCAR America Motormouths, and we'll start with our first call from NASCAR. NASCAR, welcome to the program. What you got?
Hey, this is a time when I wish I could be sitting at the desk with you instead of the caller, because there's a lot to unpack here. Trust me. I mean, Jeff, I don't know Richard, obviously, as you do. And I believe you when you say that, hey, he's going to land on his feet and this and that. But we see Brad trying to turn around Roush. But I just feel that this hurts the team. I mean, he had to obviously sign him when he won back-to-back, or he would have definitely went somewhere else. But the fact that not keeping him, I just hate to see this for the teams of Roush and Childress. And you say they'll bounce back, but what does this really do for Richard Childress knowing, okay, yeah, we're going to give them, they're going to compete, they're going to go at it. But I still think that this hurts not being able to keep the talent like Reddick. Yes, there's a lot of talent coming up. I think he'll be true to either Sheldon or Austin and their development in that 8-car coming future. But I just kind of I think this hurts them a little bit more than people are saying, and that's just how I feel. But there's a lot to unpack here.
Well, so initially I agree with you. I mean, you can't lose a guy that I just said is a franchise driver and not hurt you. But my point is that it doesn't have to. There is a way. If not, why own a team? If you don't think you can figure it out, then why own a team? And if you don't, as a driver, feel like, okay, I just had a bad situation, I can turn it into something good, don't be a driver. Like, there's challenges in business, there's challenges in sports. And you got to find a way to say, all right, man, this is not good. But then 18 months from now, have put yourself in a position that it works. And that's what I'm saying that Richard has made a history of doing. And don't count him out. It is a challenge. There's no question it's a challenge. There's no question it's a loss. I'm not minimizing that. But don't minimize the resilience of Richard Childress. Don't underestimate it.